Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo. I'm joined by the main man, Mr. Marco Romo. We are playing the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. Obviously, they're the number 3 seed. Heavy implications for Miami, obviously trying to stay out of the play-ins with the Brooklyn Nets above them. They do have the tiebreaker, so we do have to go 2-1 and hope they go. I think it's 1-2 or lose out or so. So hopefully we can get that seeding and get the 6 seed there and maybe avoid that play-in matchup and get some extra games of rest. But before we get too deep into the games, we obviously want to thank a couple of our sponsors. First one being markbrownpa.com. So go to markbrownpa, like I said, dark.com. That's marcbrownpa.com, or give him a call, 954-866-8513. He does all your estate planning, and he also does real estate legal stuff too. So make sure you hit him up. He got your free consultation, like his foreclosures, landlord tenant issues, real estate litigations, estate plannings, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit him up, 954-866-8513, or give him or reach out to him on his website, marcbrownpa.com. Now, every single game we do our prize picks, and we want to make sure you guys maximize your money. So when you go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5FIVE, spell it out, and that way you'll match your initial deposit up to $100. So whatever you deposit up to $100, we'll match that. We'll give you up to a free $100. That's up to 20 free plays. That's 20 free games. That's a quarter of a season you're literally getting on 5 Reasons. So make sure you use that promo code 5 if you go to prizepicks.com, and that way you maximize your money. Marco, we're playing one of the best teams in the league. They obviously have the MVP candidate in Joel Embiid, but they've been surrounded by excellency like pretty much all year. Like they've been doing a solid job. Like that's all the good things I'm going to say about the 76ers without throwing up, but they've been playing pretty solid this year. So obviously they got Joel Embiid, they got James Harden. PJ Tucker has been not so consistent, but the last game out, he ended up giving them 3 threes in the fourth quarter that allowed him to get that dub. So looking into the 76ers, outside of their two biggest players, which player worries you the most for that team?
Tyrese Maxey, he's been on a tear after the All-Star break. I think since they reinserted him into the starting lineup, his numbers have gone insane. He's had the best three-point shooting outside of Steph and Clay post All-Star break. So that man can go. He can get on fire at any given minute. His problem is always bigger teams, like bigger wings, which Miami only really has with Jimmy Butler, and it's hard to make a guy pay out there whenever you only have one guy to kind of go at him. But yeah, it's always gonna be Tyrese Maxey. The stuff about Miami not drafting him again. If it's about Clutch, I really hope they're over that beef with Clutch because we can't keep passing on players like Tyrese to get other guys who just aren't as good who aren't with Clutch. So that Clutch stuff I think is probably going to be rectified soon. I really hope it does, especially after that. And Tyrese, he's always going to be the one that got away from Miami. Desmond Bain is another guy, but I think Tyrese more so because he was right there. He's a Kentucky guy too, so that one even made less sense for me. And Tyrese, he can get downhill, on anybody. It don't matter who's guarding him. That he's really good at drives. He drives per game. He's one of the top leaders on the Sixers. His pick and roll game with Joel Embiid has gotten better. It used to be really kind of mishmashy, but now they've really gotten the chemistry together. It's always going to be Tyrese Maxey for me. Like Tobias Harris can go off, nobody cares. He did last year against Miami in the playoffs. They let Tobias Harris beat them, and he never did. So it's really about Tyrese Maxey and the wings kind of going off for them. DeAnthony Melton is a guy that I love a lot, but he's not really going to go off. He's just a solid 3-and-D wing guy. But Tyrese Maxey, those quick point guards are the death for Miami.
Yeah, especially with, like you said, with the toughness, with him being the one that got away and us picking Precious, Tyler saying that he's feeling Kentucky when they were talking about the pre-draft. He was really set up to be a perfect match for Miami. Him and Tyler would have been a great backcourt. Especially with him being able to be the guy to help set up Bam, and we wouldn't have to kind of force Tyler into trying to be a point guard. We'd have to let him kind of fulfill his role a little bit better, and they would have had that chemistry coming in from Kentucky too. So that would have been a nice matchup, but we can't talk about what ifs, but we can talk about some prize picks. So let's get into tonight's prize picks. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the board for everybody. So let me go ahead and share my screen for you guys. And make sure when you go to prize picks, use that promo code 5. We'll match that initial deposit up to $100 like you see right there on the screen. Now let's get to the MIA. Not in golf because we're not playing golf, obviously.
Got to be careful with a lot of the guys in Philly tonight because I don't think a lot of Philly fans even know who's going to start tonight. Right now, they say that the only questionable are Tucker, Maxey, and I think George Niang. But
Yep.
I would be staying away from any Philly guys tonight, especially given they're in the standings right now. They're pretty much locked into the second or the third seed right now.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, especially with not knowing what those guys are going to be, it's going to be tough. So we have Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo, and one prop for Caleb Martin. Um, this is a tough
I'm
one
gonna
right
say
now.
Jimmy's free throws.
These free throws, they have him at. They don't have free throws because I guess he's just been going over on it. Oh, never mind. They have 8. It's right here.
Ah,
Going over on that, I
that's
assume.
high. I'm still going over, but that's crazy how high it's gone. I remember we used to do
Yeah,
6.
that's
I
gonna
want to
be a
see
tough.
Tyler's assist.
They don't have a straight up assist for him, but they do have rebounds and assists at 8, which isn't bad actually.
Mm.
Because
Ooh.
typically he can get rebounds. Like he's one of those guys
Mm.
that he rebounds more than his size kind of shows.
I'm gonna go over for one reason. He's gonna pass it to Gabe, and Gabe is a Sixers killer. And if he hits his threes, which Gabe has, done only against the Sixers, I think that's going to be a lock, especially with the assist numbers. The rebounding stuff, I think he's easy for 5 a night right now, especially at the end of the season when guys aren't really trying as hard. So yeah, I think that one I feel the best about. The points I'm a little iffy about because it's a playoff team. I mean, you could go under on the points for Tyler, given that it's the Sixers, an actual playoff team. His numbers post All Star, even post January, he's hit the under more often than not. So if you want to hit the under on Tyler's points, I wouldn't be against it either.
Now looking at Bam Adebayo's props, they have him at 17 and a half points. He is questionable tonight, which
Mm-hmm.
makes that play a little bit tougher. But honestly, even if he does play, I wouldn't expect him to go too far over because with something like a quad strain, it's not like he's going to be able to be the most impactful player even if he does play. So, looking at some ESPN, it says that he's still questionable. Some things are saying that he's looking to play. So if he does, I would take the under on the points for Bam Adebayo. I don't think he goes over tonight. I think one of those nights is where he's just a little more passive. Obviously, with Joel Embiid in the middle, he always struggles against the big centers, in my opinion. Doesn't really necessarily go off. So those are our 3 plays for tonight. Make sure you use that promo code 5. That way we'll match your initial deposit of $200. I'll get to predictions, and then that way you can close us out, Marco. I don't think Miami gets it done tonight. I think with the way that Joel Embiid has been playing, it's just going to be tough for Miami defensively to stop that inside the paint. If Bam Adebayo gets in foul trouble, that's going to make it even harder. And with the 2 threats from the point of attack, with like you said, Tyrese Maxey and also James Harden, it's a lot of things that have to go right for Miami to get the win tonight. Now, if they do, obviously I'd be super happy, but it's a tough one. If I were to bet my money, I'd probably go on the Sixers. How you feeling about this one?
I'm kind of on a similar stance because of how it's the end of the season. A lot of these games, teams kind of just don't care anymore. Like the higher seeded teams, like the Sixers. So it could be Miami just gets a break, and a lot of these guys are really just kind of, they don't really care about this game as much. Or you're on the other flip side of that is that Miami, gets the Sixers B team, and they just kind of fall flat on their face as they usually do. Playing down to the competition. Which is what I'm afraid of. If James Harden and Embiid end up actually being like a late scratch, or they play for only like a half or something like that. See, that's the part where I would take a glance at the spread if I'm a betting man, taking Miami maybe, but it probably feels like it's a Sixers win tonight. Miami, did have the rest advantage last time, but tonight it's very evenly matched in terms of rest advantage, and on the floor is not evenly matched at all. It's also kind of maybe a playoff preview. Maybe the Sixers are like, we would rather prefer the Nets, so we're just going to beat the Heat tonight and get our standings over with. So yeah, I think probably Sixers win, but Miami might have another dumb win like they did against the Mavericks, where Cody Zeller went off, who is out of the rotation right now, which is interesting to me. Kevin Love is the backup center right now. So maybe that could be something to keep an eye out on. That's one thing that I'm probably more interested in besides the game is Cody Zeller going to be playing these last few games at all? But yeah, I think the Sixers probably take it. And if Miami somehow takes it and Brooklyn loses, then we have 2 more games of actually having to watch the Stings for at least it'll be fun for a little bit. But I think tonight is going to be over.
Yeah, I think as Heat fans right now, it's just take it a game at a time. Enjoy the games while as you can. Um, I don't know how different this roster is going to be next year, but I'm hoping we're going to see some changes with this team to make us a little more competitive. But I think right now, with this season coming to an end, um, we don't have the championship tools unless, like I said, a lot of things go right. And a lot of things can go right. Like, don't get me wrong. Playoffs come, teams get injured, right? You get that perfect spark at the perfect time. Maybe we can get ourselves to, Eastern Conference Finals or make it something crazy. Like, you just never know how things break. I'm just hoping for this team to be as successful as possible for as many years as possible, and because that's why I follow this team and I love the Miami Heat. So appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate Marco for joining and getting this done. And as always, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe, and we'll see you guys after the game.